Hey everybody, it's Probably Red. Today I'm going to be talking about the other deck that I kind of crafted together from the print and play. This one focuses on Charlotte Nightbringer and is Mystic Shifter faction. Okay, so I'll start out. Just wanted to showcase like the deck and stuff, but we'll go through that in just a moment. Let's talk about what we didn't run. So, F with B ammo is the other boss option we had for this particular type combination. So I just comparing the two. I thought, well, mainly I thought it would just be interesting to run a deck with Charlotte, and I felt like there was a little bit of like a thematic connection with the shifters and stuff. So I wanted to run, and like it's not all the way through, but I wanted to run, when I ran Mystics, I wanted to run ones that kind of worked with the shifter faction, or at least like they had like thematic synergy. So it is a bit of a thematic deck too. Like some of my decisions came down to thematics. It feels like the odds faction, and in particular, Eliza Doolittle has like a kind of team thing going on with the shifters. So I thought that would be cool. Yeah. So and then like FOB ammo, I guess he does definitely work with others because he's a boss and he works with the rats and stuff. But I feel like he's not like a solo kind of guy, but like he works with the like mystic rat things. He would have actually made a pretty good leader too, but yeah. So this is the one I ended up going with, is Charlotte. But I mean, you can interchange them and the synergies will change and stuff, but let's go ahead and read Charlotte real quick. So Charlotte Nightbringer is 17 health boss, and she has a subtype spider. She's got attack cost of 3 with 2+ attack, and when she defeats a fighter, you may remove that fighter from play linked to Charlotte. Only one fighter can be removed at a time this way. If the linked fighter is replaced, put it in its owner's discard pile. Okay. And then she has all the activated abilities of the linked fighter and adds its attack to her base attack, hence the 2+. So she's trying to be the last one to eliminate your opponent's stuff. The rest of your deck is trying to take that stuff out. So let's go over the cards that I didn't include, and sort of like try to go over why too, and like what my thoughts were. So, and there are, I know we're getting a little bit all over the place. Anyways, these two cards are included, so a little bit of a spoiler there, but I didn't include full like 3-ofs. Everything else is 3-ofs in the deck, except for Aha and Shadowcaster. So we'll go over those in a second, though. Those will be right before we'll go over those in the deck, but just know that those are in. They just didn't get fully in the deck. So the first one, we're going to go through the levels first. Okay, so we've got Emergency Brake, and it's a 1 token cost. I guess I said levels, but token cost too. And it's a tactic. And you destroy target level 2 or lower fighter. This seems really good. Also, it's an uncommon. This seems really good, but I wanted stuff to not like straight up destroy stuff. I wanted to have damaging spells because I wanted Charlotte to be able to get that finishing blow in. So while this is a great piece of removal, and it probably could go in a Charlotte deck, I just felt like there was better like options. Okay, so next up is Whiskers of the Ancient. Okay. So it's a weapon. It's a level 2. And it's Mystic Faction. It has a wield cost of 2 and gives +X attack. All weapons enter wielded. When the wielder attacks, it becomes the faction of your choice for the rest of the level. And the wielder gets +1 attack for each faction among your boss and fighters on your team. I feel like this card has a deck that it goes in, but since Charlotte doesn't get the faction of the fighter that she has at the moment, which that would have been pretty cool, but maybe broken with stuff. Plus, I mean, it would work, but you remember you have to equip this to a fighter. You can't equip it to your boss, but you could count her factions as like. But then I don't know if they do multi-faction or if they have that like technology yet in the game. So I actually think they don't, is what I'm trying to say. But I guess they didn't want to implement that yet, which that's perfectly fine. But and the art on this thing is just amazing. He's like enchanting this rat skull. Very, very cool. Very freaky. And it looks like a cat person kind of doing it. Interesting. And that's by Samuel Alexander. But I just feel like this is better in pack battle, and it's not like really good in this deck. I mean, it wouldn't be terrible, but okay. So next we have Gates, Supportive Sensei, and this one I almost included, but I ended up just, you know, during Final Cuts I ended up cutting him. And honestly, he could probably go back in because, like, I mean, I've only played with these decks one time, and I think something like this could be pretty strong. But Gates is a level 2 Mystic odds fighter and has 2 health, 1 attack cost, 1 attack, and when he enters another target boss or fighter gets +2 attack this level. This would actually probably synergize really well with Charlotte, so I do want to try him in the future. I'll actually set that aside because I kind of just threw the decks together to try to, you know, like for the first time, just to try to get them on the board and playing. But, you know, there's definitely like improvements to be made. I did put some thought into it, especially with the flavor. I was like, oh, who would work with who? Just because I didn't know that much about the game yet. And I still am not, I mean, I've read all the cards and stuff, but still learning. Always learning. Okay, so this is Rika, first novice, level 3. And she has, oh, and this art is really awesome, by the way. Steve Ellis, amazing work on this. And I believe it's one of Mr. Bryan's favorite cards, too. He said that in his podcast. And yeah, I gave it a second look after I heard that, and I thought the same thing. I thought, wow, that is amazing. So level 3, 2 health, 0 attack cost, 1 attack. She's from the Boom sub-faction. She's got armor 1, so that helps out on her low health. And she has a response to block for no tokens. So she's a really good defensive unit and pretty darn good at just like pinging in if you don't need a blocker, like towards the end of the round and stuff. Once everybody's kind of made their attacks, you can be like, okay, well, I guess I didn't have to block with Rika, or there wasn't a good opportunity to. I'll just attack. Or if there's like you just need to get somebody a little bit closer to Charlotte, being able to take them out, that's a good use of this. Okay, so yeah, but I didn't include it. For a second there, I kind of forgot that I didn't include this. And in retrospect, once again, this might be something that I end up including. Yeah, especially since the deck is very high on low drops, like, you know, 1, 2, 3s. And because of that, like normally you don't want too many like 3 drops. But if you're not running any 4 or 5 drops, I feel like you could run more. It's going to kind of mess with the curve, but I don't really know how the curve works in this game. Like, do you want the same number of 1s, 2s, 3s, 4s, and 5s? Or do you want like a bunch of 1s, a bunch of 2s, and then like almost no 3s, 4s and 5s and 6s and 7s and stuff? Or do you want like, you know, a few 1 drops and then like tons of like, you know, 3, 4s, 5s, you know, that kind of thing. There's a lot of ways it could go, and only playing will reveal that, and like deck building and testing different stuff. But yeah, so she could definitely make the deck too. But she didn't on the first go around. Now there's a whole discard like thing going on here. And don't think I included, I mean, these are the cards I did not include from that. Because I feel like I did include some discard stuff. I need to double check on that. But here's Vigo the Sharp. And I don't know if he would be able to make it. Like he has to have somebody discard something for him to actually be pretty decent. So I don't think he would have ended it. Like, he's not going to end up. We might test him, like, if we're testing all the different builds, but for this particular set of cards. Oh, and I just kind of jumped into it, but this will be like in the description and in the video title and stuff. But these are the playtest cards, so go check these out on their Kickstarter under ways to play. But let me get back to it. There'll be a link in the description. So he's a level 3, or she is a level 3. I don't know. It's a giant crab. Vigo the Sharp has 3 health, and they have 1 attack cost, and they're from the Waddle, which is fun. I actually really like a lot of the Waddle stuff, especially like art-wise, like a lot of like birds and aquatic stuff, like subaquatic, I guess. But yeah, 1 attack cost, 1 plus attack, and the +1 is from each player that discarded a card this level. Not each card discarded, each player that discarded. So max of 2, and you really got to be able to make that happen, whether it's your opponent or yourself, preferably both, so you can swing in for 3 for 1, and then it's okay. But it does, if your opponent's playing discard stuff, like he kind of makes an okay counter too. Yeah, I don't think he's making it. Let's talk about Gizzard before we jump into Evanesce. So Gizzard, Persistent Pest. I don't know. At first, when I saw this, I was like, holy crap. But after like a little bit more looking into it, I think it's just okay. Maybe it's not as bad as I'm like thinking. But you can only have 3 copies in the deck, but you can have any number of Gizzard in play. So it takes away the like basic innate legendary rule sort of thing, where you can only have 1 of each named fighter. But Gizzard's a level 3 with 3 health, 2 attack cost, and 2 plus attack. You can have, and like I said, any number of copies on your team. And then Gizzard Persistent Pest gets +1 attack for each other fighter that shares a name with it in play. Notably, that also means your opponents. So he's kind of got like a sliver effect going on, which is kind of funny. This is the first time I've read this card like 3 times. First time I noticed that, which is pretty crazy. I wonder if they're going to change that. But if not, amazing. That's actually quite fun. If they do, that would be kind of sad. I think that's really cool. Rare. I don't know if it's good gameplay, but it's very cool. Like that, just like gizzards all over the place are helping each other out. But it also has a response to tap and block. So I think that kind of makes it up for it a bit. But if you have 2 of these out, I think it's good. Problem is getting 2 of these out. You need a deck that draws lots of cards or surges up fighters or something like that. And then in that case, it's pretty cool. So I think we'll probably test out the Gizzard, because it kind of like, if you're lucky and draw it, then you're good to go. Evanesce. So this is a response. So you just do it in response, maybe, to your opponent attacking right after they played a weapon. No, if they play the weapon, their turn's over. But if they play a weapon, and then before your turn becomes around, you can go ahead and attack. Respond with Evanesce. But it's a 3-token response, and you just show up to 1 target weapon and draw a card. It's nice that it's up to 1 target weapon, so you don't have to destroy your own stuff just to like get a card draw to filter this out. But if you're using this to filter, that's expensive, and you'd only do that in like pack battle, I would assume, or very niche scenarios. Yeah. But this is not a card you would run weapons in your deck to destroy with, unless they had some kind of special ability that you get when they're destroyed that's very strong. And I don't think I've seen anything that does that, but yeah. So this is kind of a sideboard tech piece, maybe like a silver bullet, which like a one of, just in case, and then you can always like cycle it out with that card draw. But otherwise, I don't think I don't know. They didn't find a way into the deck. Malefice. Wow. I freaking love the name of this card and the art. Another great Samuel Alexander piece. Let's toss these over here. And it's another destroy weapon for 3. This time it's a tactic, but if it is wielded by a fighter, deal damage to that fighter equal to the weapon's level. So you can kind of blow them out if you get both. This, I don't know if I'd rather run this or Evanesce, but I think Evanesce I would like to run better just so it's more consistent in card draw, but the blow up potential is nice. And the 2-for-1 potential, which I mean, I guess you pretty much every time you destroy a weapon with Evanesce, you get 2-for-1 potential, but it's not, I mean, I guess it is removal. It's not double removal though. You know what I mean? Okay, so Mumbly Peg, another discard card, like Vigo. And I think this is actually better, and this could just go in the deck, but it wants to go in a discard synergy deck. And that is just part of like the print, the way my printer prints. So that's not from the camera, just so you know. But Mumbly Peg is a level 4. She's from the Waddle. And she's got 2 health, 1 attack, cost, and then 1 attack damage. And then when she enters, choose an opponent. That opponent discards a card. So it is... Yeah, I mean, the stats aren't great, but you get to destroy a card in their hand, which there's not many to begin with. So it's like destroy like 25 or 20% of their hand early on. I mean, this doesn't come out early on, but you know what I mean. That's a lot of their hand. So I would consider running her. And then finally, we've got Sage. This is the last of the not includes, which, I mean, you could almost build an entire deck out of the stuff I didn't include, and it wouldn't be terrible. Well, maybe. Maybe not an entire deck, but, you know, there's a lot of ways to change it out. And I know I was saying I'd rather run Evanesce, but this would be the one I would want to run instead. She's just let's read her. So, say level 5. Sage Fair Fighter is from the Odd sub-faction, and she's got 2 health, 1 attack cost, and 1 plus attack. When she enters play, destroy up to 1 target weapon, so another weapon destruction, and she gains health equal to the level of that weapon. When she attacks, roll a d6, or a 6-sided dice, sorry. If you roll 4 or higher, she gets +1 attack this roll, and roll again. Wow. Okay. So this could just deal infinite damage theoretically, but in practice, it could also, you know, deal 0. I think this is really good for destroying weapons, but it comes out a little bit later than Evanesce. And even, dang, I already forgot the name of that darn Malefice. That's what it's called. So yeah, I mean, this is pretty strong. You can run your own weapons, like unlike the other. I guess you can run your own weapons with Sage and kind of guarantee that she's able to gain health to keep her alive for that second ability. But yeah, I think that you could probably run this. You'd want more weapons than are in this deck, I would say. Otherwise, I mean, even if she just like is in there kind of in place of an Evanesce, so you can kind of just, you know, blow somebody out from a weapon, you know. And then we're down to the deck. And I know I ran through those in order, so I'll go ahead and try to do the same here. We're starting with Charlotte. But I kind of sorted them by like the 5 drops. Then there's no 4 drops in here, so Mumbly Peg would actually fill like the curve pretty well. We got some 3 drops, and like I said, Aha's a 2 of. We'll get to it in a second. Now these might be a bit more glary. There we go, and there's the 2 Shadowcasters. Okay, so we'll kind of I kind of want these in the background so they're like visible, but inside baseball. Whoop, okay. Kind of decides that for us. Boom, boom. All right, so let's begin. Oh yeah, we said we're going to start with Charlotte, so let's not lie about that. We already read Charlotte. So there's Charlotte again. You can pause and check up her abilities. But we talked about that at the beginning. My bad. So yeah, we are going to start with Shadowcaster. Okay. So Shadowcaster's a level 1 Mystic Fighter. They're also an artist. They have 3 health, 1 attack cost, and 1 attack. Enforcer. This must always be attacked before another boss or fighter on your team, if able. Sorry. 1 token cost. Phantasmal. Okay, so if Shadowcaster isn't Phantasmal, you put a +1 attack counter on him, and he becomes Phantasmal. So that basically makes sure you can only cast it once, unless Shadowcaster leaves the battlefield for some reason and then comes back. Then they're not Phantasmal anymore. At least I'm assuming the counters and stuff. Yeah, they definitely remove. And the ability definitely resets. I would almost guarantee it. But yeah. So kind of not a great attacker until you've invested your first token. But you don't have to tap to do that. So you can just like kind of, the turn you play him out, you could just Phantasmal. But if it comes out on a later turn, you can go ahead and get a 2-attack fighter pretty easily. But yeah, that's Shadowcaster. So, oh yeah, the Enforcer's nice. But they even gave him 3 health. So like, looking at this really, and I probably could run the other like one that I cut out, but it's it's a level 1 fighter that has essentially 3 health, 1 attack cost, and 2 attack. And an Enforcer. Once well, I guess it would be like a level 1 with 1 token cost. But yeah, pretty solid. And then Yoshi, she's kind of an anti-synth piece in here. She's a level 1, 2 health fighter from The Boom. And she's got attack cost of 1 and 1+ attack. Stealthy means that she has stealthy, so that means that she can't be attacked when she enters. So that gives her kind of a round to set up, and she could attack, but she can't be attacked. Interesting. And then Yoshi gets +1 attack when attacking synths. And 2 in tap to destroy Yoshi. Destroy target synth fighter. Okay, so yeah, I mean, oh yeah, and then Yoshi's got she gets +1, yeah. So and she can also pay 2 tokens and tap to destroy her and destroy target synth fighter. So that's good removal for the other against the other deck. So there's kind of like it's specific synergy to take out the other deck. And I think there's a good amount of synths in there. I need to double check on that, but if not, then we got to figure out if we're balancing or optimizing the decks to see like how we're going to play them. But preferably, we would want to balance the 2 against each other. All right, so then we've got Eliza Doolittle. She's really good in this deck because your boss is a shifter, and your boss is on your team. So she's a level 1, and she's got 3 health. 2 attack cost and 1 attack, but she's from the odd sub-faction. She gets +2 attack as long as you have a shifter on your team. So a 2 attack cost, 3 attack. So I'm trying to think of it's kind of like Shadowcaster, but with a more expensive but higher damaging attack. Yeah, and it's just a solid unit. The 3 health is nice, so it doesn't just die and do nothing. Not that Yoshi has stealthy to defend herself, but so Murder Countess is a level 1 shifter from the Shambles. She's a fighter, and she's got 2 health, 1 attack cost, and 1 attack, and when she enters play, deal 1 damage to up to 2 different target bosses or fighters. Excellent. So that's going to be kind of like pinging your opponent's early units or getting them closer with Charlotte to take them out. So it's good to have that interaction there. Okay, so then we got our 2 drops. Okay, so this is Aha. It's a 2 token cost tactic from the Shifter faction, and you discard a card to draw 2 cards. So you don't gain any card advantage since you're spending a card and you're discarding a card, which this would go pretty well with Vico. Vico? Is that the name of the crab thing? Yeah, Vigo. Sorry. Close. But Vigo, yeah. It would go really good with that. But Oh, whoops. I guess I shouldn't be holding all the cards at the same time. We're running 2 of. But what it does for this deck in particular is it gives you that card filtering you need, just to kind of like, you know, get through your cards and, you know, essentially get access to more like burn spells and more fighters and stuff to kind of get that going. Speaking of burn spells, we've got Steel Swipe. It's a 2 token cost tactic, and I just said I wasn't going to hold all the cards like that. It's a 2 token cost tactic. We got 3 of in here. I probably should have been saying how many we're running, but I think I've been showing that. But it deals 2 damage to a to target boss or fighter. If your boss is a shifter, which they are, it deals 3 damage instead. So this is just 2 token cost for 3 damage. So it's kind of like a lightning strike or something if you play Magic. So yeah, pretty solid. I mean, this is going to help you get some of those higher health units in range of Charlotte to take them out and basically get her to be able to, you know, gain their attack and abilities. Sorry. Now we've got Mist Me. And the art on this is crazy. They are like a chalk outline that has become incarnate, and is using the scene of the crime tape as some type of weapon, or to hold itself together. I don't know. But it's a level 2 fighter from the Mystic faction, incarnate. 3 health, 1 token attack cost, and 1 attack damage, and it has stealthy, so it kind of can come in and survive and then, you know, get to attack without worrying about that. And even better, it has 1 token cost phantasmal, like Shadowcaster, and it just comes in and it, you know, boosts itself up and then it swings in for 2, which makes its first attack kind of a 2 token cost for 2 attack, which isn't fantastic, but it does have that stealthy, so it's kind of that guarantee that you're going to be able to get that attack in. But yeah, so I think this is a really solid pick. And then, so you'll notice a lot of these are like low drop cards. And we're going through the low drops first, but there's not much left over here. You know what I'm saying? But yeah. So Fern Battle Ready is level 2. She's a shifter fighter from the Shambles subfaction. And she's got 2 health, 1 token attack cost, and 1 attack damage. When she enters, look at the top 4 cards of your deck. You may reveal a tactic or response card with cost 3 or lower and put it in your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your deck in a random order. If you don't, put a +1 attack counter on Fern. So either way, you're going to be able to draw a tactic or a response, or just like get a 1 token cost to attack, which you'd rather, I think, for like, it depends on the situation, but you get to choose. So yeah, it says you may. And either way, you get to look at the cards. You kind of get to decide, do I want one of these? Or did I not find anything? And then decide if you want that counter on her. So pretty great for a level 2. More card filtering, card choice, and sort of card advantage with her if you take the card, because you still have that 1 attack cost, 1 damage attack fighter to attack with. And they have to take this out too. Next, we have Detta Quickener. And she's a level 2 fighter from the Odds subfaction. She's got 3 health, 1 token attack cost, and 1 attack damage. And she's got Phantasmal, which we'll come back to her first ability in a second, but she can pay 1 token to become Phantasmal, which is kind of a marker to show, like I said before, that she can't do it repeatedly, but she gets +1 attack counter. That's the main point. And then her first ability is when she becomes Phantasmal, target fighter on your team gains 2 health. So yeah, so she's kind of like a healer, and she becomes a decent brawler too. So yeah, really good card, honestly. So 3 of those. Okie dokie. Now we've got, okay, so we've got a few left here on the 2 drops, or the level 2s and 2 drops, I guess. Sorry. So Burgess Burrower Beneath is at level 2 with 4 health, one attack cost and one attack, and it's vanilla. But I think that's very nice on the amount of health, even, and good cheap attack to be able to kind of focus down exactly where you need to get for Charlotte. And it survives long enough. It doesn't have stealthy or anything like that, but it can just kind of ping in there. Not really ping, but you can light attack something until Charlotte can finish it off. So, you know, decent include, I think. 3 of those. This might, I don't know about this, but it might be something that we'd try something else out, like maybe even Mumbly Peg, because we have a lot of 2-drops, but we'll see. But it's nice to have a 4 health unit, so. And then we've got Echo Fade. So Echo Fade, and you'd think, okay, so isn't that kind of anti-synergy with Charlotte, since her ability depends on how much attack the fighter is, but she gets its attack, which these are just counters. When it dies, those go off of there. So just real quick on that. So it's a 2 token attack cost response, so they've already spent their tokens of attack, and you Echo Fade them. That's one of the reasons I think this is so good. But you put 2 -1 attack counters on target fighter, and yeah. So you can kind of reduce their attack as they're attacking. They could attack in with something really big, or even something that's exactly 2, and they just do like nothing. Now we're on the 3-drops. Okay, so we got 2 different 3-drops here, and we got 1 5-drop, and that'll be the deck. So there's 3 on Ryle unchecked, and Ryle is a level 3 fighter shifter from the Shambles subfaction. They have 4 health, 1 attack cost, and 1 attack. But when Ryle is dealt damage, deal that much damage to target boss or fighter. And when Ryle deals attack damage, deal 2 damage to Ryle. So it's kind of like it's a 1 attack cost for 3, and then realistically like a 2 health, because you're going to get that 1 attack in, and then, but when you finish this off, it's going to deal even more damage. So it could be like a 1, if you think about it, kind of like a 1 or a 0 health kind of. 1 attack cost for 5. It just depends on how your opponent deals with it. Or if you're like healing this, which that's a pretty good synergy with Data Quickener. So yeah, I think this is a great include. That direct damage is going to be able to be pointed at anything. Yeah, because you can target the boss or fighter, and that'll help with Charlotte. And then I said with oh gosh, what's the 1-drop card? Emergency Break earlier, that we didn't really want any direct destroy spells. But if there's something that comes out like that's just got 7 health, and you're like, I'd love to be able to take that out with Charlotte, but it's not going to happen, or like it's getting to the point where like you just need to take something out because it's dangerous, this isn't conditional. So we probably would rather run something that does like damage, so you can kind of like focus down something with Charlotte. But if we're gonna run something that just straight up destroys something like Push does, we would much rather run something that has no conditions. So I mean, the condition is it's 3 tokens and it's a tactic, not a response. But I don't think there's any response speed destroy spells. But yeah, it destroys a fighter. That's it. You just push them. Yep. 3 of that. I think that's quite solid. And then finally, our last card here, last but not least, is Roll Call. And I think this synergizes really nicely in the deck. You'll see why in a second. It's a tactic. Choose 1. Distribute up to 5 +1 attack counters among fighters on your team. That's amazing. And then also it has, you could choose to draw a card for each fighter with a counter on your team. So this and the Phantasmal, or I think it's called Phantasmal, but yeah, it's Phantasmal. Well, you could just make this a draw spell. If you're like, well, I'd love to have the attack counters, but I really need some more cards to refuel everything. You don't have to worry about milling out, because if you cast this and then cast another copy of it, it's just gonna get that much better if you can keep those fighters around. So I mean, I think that's really solid. But yeah, that's the deck right now. I think that there's some really good synergies that came in the print and play. And I think that, it's going to be fun continuing to play with it. Thank you for your time. If you enjoyed the video, go ahead and give me a like and subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. And talk to you soon. Bye.